So I'm going to tell a little story to Mummy now. Okay? You read your book. You read your book and I'll tell a little story to Mummy. Okay? Yeah, that's a good girl. Okay, so you have to imagine this. This is a lesson about consequences, and it's going to apply to this age group and beyond. And it comes from my home and my experience. So I used to think that if a child did something good that you wanted, that you rewarded them, and that if they did something that you didn't want or bad, that there were negative consequences to it. Yeah. So imagine this, where I come home from work and I've got 3 little children, 2, 4, 6, sitting at a little coffee table in front of the television, watching some cartoon and having some fruit. And my job then is to, when the fruit's done, to take and read them stories and get them off to bed because they're all dressed and bathed and everything, and everyone's exhausted. It's the end of the day. Yeah. And I come walking in, and the 4-year-old sees me coming in, gets up, wants my attention, turns the television off. The 2-year-old cries, the 4-year-old whinges, and the 6-year-old whinges and complains. And I say to her, come on, put the television on. And she stands there, nope, won't do it. So I turn the television on, so she turns it off. So I turn it on, so she turns it off. So I turn it on and get in her way so she can't block it. So she takes the table and empties the table. Fruit's everywhere, everybody's crying. Right, consequences, I'm thinking. Off to bed. Yeah. Off to bed, no stories, no fruit, into bed. She goes into her room and there's screaming and shouting and hysteria for up to an hour. Now this is happening every night. This little scenario is happening every night I come home of that week. And I'm thinking, consequences, you've got to have bad consequences for that sort of behaviour. Yeah. So my wife then says to me, look, I know consequences are important, my wise wife, but it's just not quite working. So let's try a different tactic. So the tactic she chose, which is the one I want to tell you about, is to praise. To praise her. So we decided then that we would be constantly on the lookout for things to praise her about. For getting up on time, for eating her dinner, for putting the cup in the right spot, for dressing well, for anything. It had to be, however, sincere, because she's not silly. She's going to know that if you're praising her for something that isn't what we think is right or what we think is good, she'll know, and we should know that we're not only that we don't love her, but we're also liars as well. The second thing the praise has to be is unconditional. If you praise in a way that says, oh, well done, I like that, and then you're looking for them to say thank you, Daddy, or thank you, Mummy, then that's got strings to it. They know that that's not sincere, unconditional praise, and so it doesn't work. But if you praise them, that's the goal. So we did that. Within 24 hours, we had a completely different child. We had an angel. Yeah. I come home the next night from work, and she jumps on my laps and said, Daddy, read me a story, which is just what every dad wants. Absolutely. Okay. And it's a simple thing that I believe consequences are important, and at an intellectual level I still do, but I know at an effective level, praise works first. Praise them before they get the chance to do anything bad, and then they just want to do it.
Yeah. That's good because, I mean, we're having a few issues with her and meltdowns and tantrums, and maybe that's where we should
Well, there's a whole bunch of lessons for tantrums and meltdown that I can talk to you about, and we'll do that another day. But I'll get to those. But one of them is simply that like simple principle. Oh, she looks beautiful. And she's such a good reader. If he's not that interested in the food, it's not your job to shove a whole meal into him.